My name is Isabel Martinez, and I've borne the label of family shame since I was 23. It was then, in my final year of university, that life began to form in my body. We dated for only 8 months, a physics graduate student, long enough for him to run away. He transferred to a program somewhere on the East Coast, vanished into other dimensions, and never looked back. My Maya was born 3 weeks after graduation, to the accompaniment of silence in the hall of my life. No job, no partner, no plan other than blind, desperate survival. My family's reaction was swift and merciless. My father, Ricardo Martinez, who built not glass and concrete in Southern California, but symbols of his own power, office towers and shopping malls, looked at me as if I were a defective tile marring a flawless facade. "You have humiliated us," he said, and every word was cold and sharp as steel. "What will people talk about now?" My mother, Elena, was quieter, but her disappointment hung in the air like a thick, suffocating fog. "Isabel, you had such potential," she whispered, and the "had" cut deeper than a scream. And Victoria, my flawless older sister, whose life in Newport Beach was a glossy catalog of good decisions, pronounced the final verdict. "You're selfish. You've disgraced everyone. Don't expect us to bail you out." And I didn't. I did the only thing I could. I went into deep defense. A tiny one-room apartment in Koreatown, the sticky floor of the law firm office where I became an assistant for a paltry $45,000 a year, and the endless, debilitating anxiety of a single mother. After rent, daycare, and the most basic expenses, my salary left me feeling like I had a hole in my pocket. For 12 years, I drowned in this reality, working myself to the bone, checking documents on weekends, and avoiding family gatherings where every glance was a pin piercing my pride. But during those long nights, buried beneath piles of dry legal files, something else began to grow within me. I began to see what others didn't: patterns in insurance dispute settlements, loopholes missed by lawyers, the true cost of others' pain. I developed a sense. When Maya turned 5, I took the LSAT, scoring a fantastic 172. At 6, I was accepted into the evening program at Southwestern Law School. 3 years of hellish marathon, 40 hours of work, 20 of studying, the rest for Maya. 4 hours of sleep, rivers of coffee, and a steely, angry determination somewhere within. My family knew nothing. To them, I remained that same loser assistant. When Maya was 9, I graduated. I passed the bar exam. I got a job at a personal injury firm with a salary of $120,000. The jurors loved me. I made them feel someone else's pain, and my settlements soared above average. 2 years later, I became a junior partner. By my daughter's 12th birthday, my income had approached $500,000. But outwardly, nothing had changed. The same one-room apartment in Koreatown, the same old Honda, the dresses from the sale. I deliberately maintained this camouflage, this barely making ends meet image that my family so eagerly bought, because every pitiful shake of their head, every condescending advice from Victoria about budget planning, gave me a wild, dark energy. I saved and invested with the ferocity of a hunted animal. 60% of my income went into index funds, stocks, and real estate. A duplex in Pasadena, bought for cash. Commercial tile in Burbank. By the time Maya was 13, my fortune, invisible to everyone, had grown to $2.8 million. And they still believed their fairy tale about poor, lost Isabel. I was in no hurry to dissuade them. Their condemnation was my fuel. But beyond the asset portfolio, I was building something else, something beautiful and quiet, a surprise for my Maya. 3 years ago, I came across an ad. Serenity Coast Resort in Laguna Beach was for sale, a 42-room boutique hotel with a private beach, restaurant, and spa. It had been my quiet, impossible dream all those years I'd driven past it on the PCH, smelling the ocean through the cheap air conditioning of my Honda. It was for $18 million, faded and neglected. And I did something crazy. I bought it. Or rather, I wasn't the only one. I found 2 investors, a former hotel guru and a down-to-earth developer. Each put in 6. I took another $6 million from my years-old fortune, selling some assets and taking out loans secured by other properties. My heart was pounding in the city when I signed the papers in January 2022. Then came 8 months of frantic $4 million renovations, where every choice, from the fabric for the sofas to the type of olives in the restaurant, was mine. By 2024, our resort, sparkling and sought after, was worth $32 million. My third, a little over 10 and a half, I was the managing partner. It was my empire of sand and dreams, and my family knew absolutely nothing. Joining this with the practice of senior partner at the firm and life with a teenager was unthinkable. But I learned to slice time into diamond shards. 3 days a week, I was Isabel's lawyer, interrogations, trials, negotiations. 2 days, I was the resort owner, operations, meetings, strategy. Maya is 14 now. We quietly moved into a nice 3-bedroom house in Pasadena, bought with cash. She goes to a strong school, excels in debate. Her life is stable and fulfilling. It was for this stability, for the sheltered childhood that was taken from me, that I hid everything. I was afraid that their poisonous, "aha, so now you have money, but you still deprived your daughter of a father," would poison her world too. I was building a future for her. The house in Pasadena will one day be hers. One of the apartments is already in trust for her education. My share in Serenity Coast is her main insurance policy against life's adversities. My weeks were an endless marathon. Monday, court, interrogation until 6, dinner with Maya, and then resort financial reports until late at night. Tuesday, lawsuit negotiations, and in the evening, a call with the management reviewing reservations. Wednesday, all day on the coast amid the smell of salt and expensive linens. Thursday, more law, and in the evening, helping Maya with algebra. On Fridays, we often went with her to the resort, to my master suite, our mini escape, where I still couldn't tear myself away from the phone. I existed on the brink of exhaustion, but it was a success that 23-year-old girl with a baby in her arms couldn't even dream of. For my family, my life was still the same miserable existence. They had long since ceased to be interested in me. At the rare family gatherings, maybe 3 times a year, we would exchange a few polite words, and then they would dive into discussions of my father's new yacht or Victoria's latest trip to the Seychelles. I became a ghost, and I liked it. Until in early November, the invitation arrived. An envelope of thick, cream-colored paper with gold embossing, reeking of money and arrogance. Unmistakably Victoria's work. We invite you to celebrate Ricardo Martinez's 60th birthday on December 15th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Serenity Coast Resort, Laguna Beach. Black tie restaurant, adults only, no invitation for single parents. Confirm by November 30th. I stared at that line. No invitation for single parents. It wasn't just a formal clause. It was a targeted shot. At me, excluding Maya. I dialed Victoria, feeling my fingers freeze with anger. "Hi, Vic. I got an invitation from Dad. I just need to clarify something." Her voice sounded sweet and false. "Isabel, yes, we're so happy. Dad specifically wanted Serenity Coast. They say it's incredible after the renovations." "Yes, that's exactly it. The invitation says single parents aren't allowed. Does that mean adults only?" "Exactly. A sophisticated evening. Children would be completely out of place. I understand it's difficult for you, the constant hassle of finding a sitter, but it's Dad's evening." "Maya's 14, Victoria. She won't run around. She'll sit quietly." "Isabel, the dress code is formal wear. Adults only. I'm sure you can find someone for the evening. Or is that too difficult for your situation?" Something cold and sharp stabbed me in the ribs. Situation? Well, you know, single mom, limited resources. If a nanny is too expensive, I'm sure Mom will pay. We just don't need your babysitting problems at Dad's party. The line buzzed. "I see. Great. So you'll RSVP? Let me think." "Isabel, Dad is 60. You have to come, even if it means dealing with your complications." I hung up without saying goodbye. That same evening, I sat with Maya at the kitchen table in Pasadena. "They don't want you at Grandpa's party," I said bluntly. "It's specifically stated in the invitation." Maya shrugged. She'd learned early on not to expect warmth from my family. "It's okay, Mom. I can stay at Ashley's." "It's not nothing. You're his granddaughter. You should have been included." "I've never really been included," she said softly, and those words hurt more than any of Victoria's fury. Why would they start now? She was right. My family had kept Maya at arm's length her entire life. Politeness at Christmas, yes. Acceptance, never. "Here's the thing," I began cautiously. "The party at Serenity Coast Resort. Do you remember that beautiful place in Laguna?" "Yes, where we went last month?" "Yes, that very place. I own a third of it." Her eyes widened. "Wait, you own the part of the resort where Grandpa's party will be?" "I'm the managing partner. We bought it 3 years ago." "Does Aunt Victoria know?" "Nobody knows, just my partners. My family, no." "And you're going to tell them?" I thought about the 12 years of quiet war, about the condescending tone, about the line on the invitation. "Not yet, but I'll do something better." I spent the next 3 weeks preparing. First, I confirmed my attendance. Just me, no +1, as requested. Second, I met with the resort managers. "December 15th, Martinez's party. I need you to organize something." I explained the gist. My general manager, James Chin, smiled slowly. "That's delightfully vindictive, Ms. Martinez." "It's not revenge, James. It's a clarification of position." Third, I made arrangements with Maya. "How about spending the evening on the 15th in the Serenity Coast Presidential Suite? Room service, movies, the whole package." Her eyes lit up. "Really? But I'm not invited to the party." "You're not invited to the party, but you can stay at the hotel, a part of which will one day be yours." "Mom, this is the best revenge ever." "It's not revenge, darling. It's establishing clarity." Then I bought a dress. Not from a sale rack, but from a boutique in Beverly Hills. Black, flowing, for $3,200. Designer shoes. I had professional makeup and hair done at the resort's spa. If you're going to lose your invisibility, you might as well do it in style. On the evening of December 15th at 5, I drove Maya to the presidential suite. "Have fun at Grandpa's party," she smiled, lounging on the enormous sofa. "And I'll be here, enjoying our property." I went to get ready. I transformed into the woman in the mirror, flawless, precious, the owner of this place. At 7 sharp, I entered the main ballroom. The hall was magnificent. Victoria had spared no expense. A sea of flowers, crystal, live music, waiters with champagne. About 60 guests, family, my father's partners, their entire glittering circle. Everyone was impeccable. I quietly took my glass and glanced around the room, feeling my heart pound. Not with fear, but with cool, collected preparedness. Victoria noticed me first. Her eyes, cold and appraising, widened briefly in surprise before she pulled her usual mask of polite superiority over her face. "Isabel, you've come, and you look wonderful," she said, a false note in her voice. "Thank you. Where did you get that dress?" "At a boutique in Beverly Hills. It must have cost a fortune." "Really? You can afford it?" Her eyebrow rose slightly. "I did," I replied simply. My mother came over and kissed me on the cheek. "Darling, you look wonderful. I'm so glad you could come. Was it difficult with the nanny?" "Everything's sorted out," I snapped. My father stood at the bar, the center of attention from his partners. Seeing me, he beckoned. "Isabel, my youngest daughter," he announced, in a voice that attempted pride, but revealed only condescending pity. "She's a lawyer in Los Angeles." I smiled, shaking hands, letting them speculate about my modest career and the life of a struggling single mother. Dinner was served at 8. I found myself at a table with Victoria's friends, successful couples boasting tales of private alpine resorts, Swiss schools, and luxury apartment buildings. "What do you do?" one of the women, the wife of a neurosurgeon, asked politely. I work in law, and I invest in real estate, I replied. Oh, how interesting, she said in a tone that implied just the opposite. Victoria, sitting next to me, didn't miss the opportunity. Isabel is raising her daughter all by herself. It must be incredibly difficult. It has its challenges, I agreed. I just can't imagine. We have 2 nannies, and I'm still at my wit's end. How do you manage on a paralegal's salary? The woman exclaimed. Before I could answer, Victoria clinked her knife against her glass. The toasts began. Dad, you've built an incredible life, an incredible business. Victoria's voice flowed like syrup. Everyone applauded. And he specifically chose Serenity Coast Resort for his celebration because he values excellence. This resort is a paragon of taste and success, reflecting his own achievements. I sipped my champagne, feeling a cool, calm bubble of irony simmering within me. I waited. Dinner continued. Filet mignon, lobster, rivers of expensive wine. Around 9, as arranged, James Chin approached my father's center table. I watched from across the room. Excuse me, Mr. Martinez. James Chin, general manager. I'm sorry to interrupt the celebration, but a situation has arisen. My father winced. What situation? The resort owner is requesting that your event be moved to another location. Silence fell over the table, and then over the entire room. What? Victoria's voice sounded like a whip crack. That's absurd. We have a contract. Absolutely, ma'am. However, the owner has certain rights. She requests that you move to the pool deck. It's very beautiful. Absolutely not, Father's face darkened. We are staying here. This is unacceptable. I understand your disappointment, sir, but the owner is adamant. Then call the owner here. Father stood up, his voice booming. I want to speak with whoever dared to ruin my celebration. James smiled. The owner is here, sir. She is currently in the presidential suite with her daughter. Should I ask her to come down? Yes, immediately. Very well, sir. I'll tell Ms. Martinez you'd like to speak with her. I watched my father's face change. Confusion, vague recognition, complete disbelief. Miss Martinez, he muttered. Isabel Martinez, sir. She is the managing partner and makes all decisions regarding Serenity Coast Resort. She has been here all evening. Should I bring her to you, or would you prefer to go to her? Victoria went pale, as if she had been struck. Isabel owns this place? 1/3, ma'am, along with the partners. But as managing partner, she determines everything, including the use of the premises, James clarified calmly. My mother jumped up. There must be a mistake. There is no mistake, ma'am. Ms. Martinez and her partners acquired the resort in January 2022, completed a $4 million renovation, and made it a market leader. Under her leadership, the property's value has grown from $18 million to approximately $32 million. She's achieved outstanding results. A deathly silence fell over the room. All eyes were on our group. I put down my glass, stood, and crossed the ballroom to my family. The rustling of my dress was the only sound. Hi, Dad. Happy birthday, I said, stopping in front of him. He looked at me as if he'd never seen me before. You own this place? The third one? Yes, with 2 partners. I'm the managing partner. That means I make the final decisions on everything, including the ongoing space issue. Victoria found her voice. Her voice trembled with a mixture of rage and shock. How? How is that possible? You're a personal injury lawyer. Actually, I'm a senior partner at Brennan & Associates. My annual income is about $480,000. I've been investing for many years. My net worth, excluding the resort, is approximately $2.8 million, plus or minus. The market fluctuates. Mom sank heavily into her chair as if her legs had given out. 2.8? But you live in Koreatown. You drive that wreck. You dress in... Actually, I live in a 3-bedroom house in Pasadena, I interrupted her in a flat, cold tone. Bought with cash. And that dress is Armani, $3,200. I simply chose to live modestly, accumulating wealth. It's funny how you never asked about my real life. You simply assumed I was barely making ends meet. Because that version suited you. It fit comfortably into your story. Father finally squeezed out, "Why didn't you tell us?" "Because you didn't want to know." My voice wavered for the first time, releasing years of pent-up bitterness. "You wanted a loser daughter. The one who ruined everything, got pregnant too early, squandered her potential. Victoria would have shone even brighter in comparison." "That's not true," Victoria breathed, but panic was evident in her eyes. "Not true? The invitation clearly stated no invitations for single parents. And you, Vic, told me you didn't want me having supervision issues at a party at my hotel where my daughter, your niece, was deliberately excluded. We didn't know he was yours. You didn't need to know he was mine to treat me with basic respect, to include Maya, to stop judging me for the choice I made 14 years ago." The silence in the hall became absolute, deafening. Even the musicians froze. "So this is what will happen," I continued, regaining my former icy composure. "You can finish your dinner, you can cut the cake, you can celebrate, but it will be on my turf and on my terms." I turned to James. "You don't have to move them, but I want all the bills for tonight sent to me. Dinner, drinks, everything. It's my gift." Victoria's face turned purple. "We can afford our own party." "No, it's a gift from the daughter you thought was broke, from the one who ruined everything." I turned to leave, but at the threshold, I looked back one last time. "Oh yes, Victoria, Maya is upstairs in the presidential suite, having a wonderful time with a burger and movies, because even if you excluded her from your celebration, she's always welcome at her mother's hotel. She's family here, even if it's not for you." I walked out of the room, leaving a deathly silence and 60 pairs of shocked eyes behind me. My knees shook in the elevator, but inside, it was empty and calm. In the suite, Maya was watching a comedy. "How did it go?" she asked, smiling. "I think I just blew up the family universe." "Good. They deserved it." "Maybe, but still, weird." My phone blew up with calls. First Dad, then Victoria, then Mom. I declined one after another, 23 missed calls in an hour. Maya and I went out onto the balcony, looked out at the dark ocean, and ate vanilla ice cream from the room service. "Mom," Maya said quietly, "I'm proud of you." "For what?" "For showing them who you are, for stopping being their shadow. And thank you for building all this, raising me alone. I know how hard it was, but you made it worth it." Around midnight, there was a knock on the door. I peered through the peephole and froze. I opened it. "Can we talk?" my father asked. He suddenly looked smaller, older. "With both of you, if possible." I let him in. Maya paused the movie. He looked around the suite, the panoramic windows, the decor, the view, and quietly said, "Wonderful. Thank you. We planned it all ourselves." He sank into a chair as if an unbearable burden had been lifted. "Isabel, I have to apologize. In fact, I've been needing to apologize for 12 years straight." He raised his hand, seeing that I wanted to interrupt. "No, let me finish. When you got pregnant, I was angry. I was ashamed. I felt like you ruined the perfect image I'd spent years building for our family. And I made you feel ashamed of something that shouldn't have been shameful. Your courage, your strength, your choice to raise your daughter alone and build a life against all odds." He turned to Maya, his voice trembling. "And before you, Maya, you're my granddaughter, and I kept you at a distance, because you reminded me of my own failure as a father. It wasn't your mother who made a mistake, it was me, and I'm incredibly sorry." A quiet, fragile pause fell over the room. "Thank you for saying that," I said carefully, "but it doesn't erase 12 years. "I know, but maybe it will change the next 12, if you let it." "And Victoria, Mom, all those down there, looked down on me for years. Victoria is crushed. All her confidence was built on comparing herself to you, to the version of you she'd created. Having learned the truth, she's in shock. Mom is crying. She realizes she's failed you. We've all failed you." He looked at me directly. "What do you want from us now, Isabel?" I glanced at Maya. She gave a slight shrug. "Your choice." "A chance," he said quietly, "to know you, the real you, to know Maya as family, not as a formality." I thought about 12 years of pain, about the quiet accumulation of strength, about that girl who was afraid to ask for help. "Okay," I finally exhaled, "but on my terms. No more assumptions about my life, no more comparisons to Victoria, no excluding Maya, and no more treating me like a problem to be solved. And one more thing, you will tell everyone downstairs the truth, the whole truth, that I own this resort, that I built a career, that I achieved all this myself raising my daughter. No more secrets because of your shame." He nodded, and in his eyes, for the first time in many years, I saw not condemnation, but a tired, bitter respect. "Agreed." He looked at me, and in his gaze, finally, there was neither anger nor contempt, only a tired clarity. "I'll tell them today, before I leave." "Okay." He stood up to leave, but paused in the doorway. His shoulders, always so straight, now seemed hunched under an invisible weight. "Whatever it is, Isabel, I'm proud of you. I should have said this 12 years ago, but I'm saying it now. You are the strongest person in our family, and you always have been." The door closed quietly. Maya watched me silently. "Do you believe him?" she asked. "I believe that right now he thinks so. How long will it last? We'll see. Are you glad this all happened?" The most profound revelation was her question. I thought about it. Not about money, not about revenge, but about that nagging feeling of invisibility I'd carried within me for years. "Yes," I breathed out with a relief I didn't expect. "I'm tired of being a ghost, tired of letting them make me feel worthless. I've built something real, and they need to see that." "You've built something amazing, Mom," Maya said firmly, "and you did it while raising me. You know, that's pretty damn cool." The rest of the evening passed without us. Later, cousin Louie, who found the whole drama incredibly funny, sent a voicemail. My father had indeed addressed the guests. He told them how Serenity Coast belonged to me, about my career, about my investments. Louie's voice was breaking with laughter. "And your little sister Vic ran away, almost knocking down the door. Your mom looked like she'd been slapped in the face with an expensive menu." Over the next month, family life slowly, creakingly began to restructure itself around the new reality. Mom called every Monday, timidly asking how I was doing. We started meeting for lunch one-on-one. She was learning to listen, not judge. Victoria needed more time. 3 weeks later, a long, carefully crafted letter arrived. "At first, I was humiliated," she wrote, "then angry, at you for hiding it, at myself for being blind. But most of all, I realized I was jealous. Your pregnancy made me feel superior for 12 long years. But the truth is, you are a genius. You took a situation that should have broken you and turned it into fuel. You raised an incredible daughter and built an empire. You were always better. I was just too insecure to admit it. Can we start over?" "We can try," I replied. Maya's relationship with her grandparents finally took on a more solid form. They came to her matches. Her father took her to restaurants and asked her questions, real questions. Her mother helped her with her college essays. They learned to be a family belatedly, but they learned. The most important thing changed in me. For 12 years, I had been secretly successful, as if it were something shameful. I let their pathetic image of poor Isabel define who I was to the world. But I wasn't poor. I wasn't a failure. I was Isabel Martinez, a lawyer, an investor, a resort co-owner, a single mother who had built the impossible. And I no longer hid. 6 months later, Maya and I threw a celebration at Serenity Coast, her 15th birthday. In the same ballroom, our new, true mosaic gathered. Maya's family, her friends, her team. The atmosphere was light, joyful, and uninhibited. Maya raised her glass of juice. "I want to talk about my mom. Everyone told her I would ruin her life. and for a long time people looked at her as if I had. But my mother, she took what should have broken her and built something beautiful out of it. She taught me that success isn't what others think of you. It's what you create when no one is looking. It's being proud of yourself, even when others aren't. So let's drink to Isabel Martinez, the best mom in the world. I cried, not trying to hide it. I saw Victoria crying. Afterward, my father pulled me aside. I'm reviewing the inheritance. You and Victoria will get an equal share. But I'm also setting up a trust for Maya, for her education and a start in life. I need to do this. I missed 12 years. I want her to know she's family, real family.
Thank you, Dad.
And Isabel, I know I let you down. I can't change that. But I want you to know you're the most successful person in this family. Not because of the money, because you never gave up. That's what true strength is. Victoria called recently. I'm thinking about getting a second degree. Any advice? We met for coffee. She asked questions and listened, without comparing. I've wasted 12 years being jealous, she said. I don't want to waste any more. I want to get to know my sister, the real one. And can I take Maya shopping? I want to be a real aunt to her. She'll love it. Last week, I closed on a small hotel in Palm Springs, $4.2 million. My net worth, excluding the resort, is approaching $4 million. Maya will be choosing college next year. She says she wants to study business, maybe hotel management. I want to build like you, Mom, but maybe from a better foundation. You already have a better foundation, baby. You know who you are, and you know you don't have to hide it. That ill-fated invitation said, adults only, no drama. They were only partly right. Drama did happen, but it was the drama of the truth. And the truth was simple. I built my life against all odds, and I will never apologize for it again.